Dear beautiful people, what a wonderful day to have a cup of coffee. Why do we not enjoy the things anymore that we used to enjoy? For some of you, that's on your mind. Some of you used to love to go out, you used to love to socialize. Some of you used to love to party. Some of you used to love to chase the other gender. Or the same gender. No judgment here. Well, some of you used to enjoy a smoke. Some of you used to enjoy to smoke marijuana. Some of you used to enjoy to have a drink. Some of you used to enjoy a big barbecue. And for some of you, those things, for some reason, stop being appealing. And the mind is asking itself, why? What's wrong with me? Have I lost it? Am I not enjoying myself anymore? Well, some of you used to watch dramatic TV shows all the time with a lot of conflict and drama and romantic drama and, well, violence, yes. For some reason, for some of you, this stops to be appealing. I remember an old yogi from India, Sri Ramakrishna, used to say to his disciples, I can't even hold a coin in my hand. I can't even hold money in my hand. Feels like it's burning me. Is he out of his mind? Of course not. There's something entirely else going on. When we increase in energy, when we become more and more light, activities that we did previously now become a lower energy choice. See, this is not a moral statement. Those of you who know me understand that I don't make off-moral statements for very good reasons. I'm more interested in the physics of things and not in any idea of judgment. But what I'm telling you is this. Maybe before you were unconscious, deeply unconscious and deeply trapped in your ego, smoking marijuana might have been some sort of enhancement in consciousness. Might have created some sort of shift. But suddenly you grow out of that and you can't go back. What I'm saying is you are outgrowing experiences energetically. And when you outgrow them and you used to have certain habits and you call those habits yourself, suddenly you're not yourself anymore because those habits start falling away. And the mind is always eager to look for the future and says, well, what is supposed to replace this? Well, I used to like a 9 to 5, now I can't anymore. What's wrong with me? Well, maybe that right now is a lower energy choice because you've actually increased in consciousness and energy. You need to make higher energy choices. Maybe certain sexual activities were appealing to you, but now they become a lower energy choice and a higher energy choice is available to you. And now you feel like you lower your energy if you perform certain acts, for example. That doesn't make any of those acts wrong. That doesn't make taking substances wrong. That doesn't make certain fetishes wrong. That doesn't make anything wrong. But surely, if one outgrows an experience, why return? So, a friend of mine who cares a lot about animals loves to be a vegan activist. He wants to educate people to have compassion for animals. And one time I told him, well, if you would just teach them yoga and meditation, at some point they would stop eating meat, and they wouldn't even know why. Because at some point when the energy increase, eating meat is a lower energy choice. Suddenly they feel subjectively a disgust or a repulsive feeling towards prior activity. And this is really the effect of spiritual practice, that if we increase in energy, every time we lower our energy for a certain activity, we feel a little bit repulsed. We feel a little bit disgusted. We feel a little bit put off. As children, we could feel this more intricately, but then a lot of you got desensitized by society and by the media and by, let's say, brutal experiences sometimes, that we made dysfunction the norm, that we said like a certain violence, we're used to it, a certain poisoning of ourselves, we're used to it. But suddenly when you grow in energy, all of this as an option falls away, and if you return to the old behavior, you feel bad. But again, it's not a moral thing, it's an energetic thing. So the more you grow in light, the more higher dimensions become accessible to you, but you need to let go of the lower dimensions. You need to let go of the lower activity. Otherwise, it will be hard to stay in the higher dimensions. And this is really what Ramakrishna meant when he said he can't even hold on to money. Because his energy at that point was so high that the idea of owning something, that the idea of possession itself would have been a lower energy choice for him. It's very difficult to wrap the head around this intellectually. Don't try. And again, that doesn't make having money wrong, but just if that's the point of evolution where you're at, then you're past that. So if there is no wrong, if you can indulge in certain things and you can allow other beings to indulge in certain things, and if you outgrow it, you can also accept that you outgrow it, and if others don't outgrow it, you can still accept that they indulge in certain things, and you love everybody. It's not complicated. It's not difficult in that sense. Many of us in the Western world, we're very used, for example, to poison ourselves with alcohol. We go into clubs, we drink, you see. But at some point, for example, I couldn't do that anymore. It's probably 15 years ago or so, if I remember correctly. I couldn't do this anymore. I couldn't go in these places. Something about those places was yucky, dirty in a way. And again, it's not a moral judgment. It's an energetic sense. It's a psychic sense. It is a sense of, here is a lot of lower astral activity happening. Here's a lot of desire and fear going on. Because fear and desire go hand in hand. If you have desires, you have fears of not fulfilling the desire. If you have the desire fulfilled, you're afraid of losing the desire. So desire and fear are basically the lower astral realm. This is where all the dark entities hang out. And as children, we might have had certain senses already. Let's say your parents walk with you through the city. And you're not passing through the red light district, but you're walking, let's say, you see it from the distance. And as a child, for some reason, you felt yucky. And you didn't know why. But you might have had an energetic sense of, oh, here's a lot of lower astral activity going on. Which again is not wrong. A soul can choose to expand through this type of activities. But at some point, a soul has done this enough. After hundreds of lifetimes of indulging in sex and materialism and so on, at some point the soul grows tired of that and has a desire to return home to a higher energy state. And suddenly those things stop being appealing. Now your ego might trick you though, because your ego, which draws identity from your previous relationships, but might be a low energy relationship. For example, if you spend time with people who complain a lot, you're getting bombarded by low energy frequency. And they probably have their own demons around, the dark entities that feed into their victim egos, that make them complain and whine about life. And if you are in that energy, you feel, And again, not a moral judgment. It's just a subjective experience of, I'm poisoning myself. So the more you grow in energy, the more reluctant you are to poison yourself in any way. Suddenly, when someone offers you a drink, you find it more easy to stay firm and say, no, I don't want to drink alcohol. I feel it lowers my consciousness. And you can even say it out loud in front of people. You see? There's a shift. But then the ego remnants in you that are afraid that you might lose certain relationships will then say, oh God, if I change this way, how can I relate to anybody? Nobody can relate to me anymore. Am I suddenly this otherworldly thing that is not relatable in any way? Will I lose intimacy? Will I lose relationships? Well, what in you is concerned with loss? Where the false self, the illusionary self that is fed by the darkness, that is fed by the astral realm. The ego always will focus on what it can lose. It never focus on expansion. It will always give you an argument, like say a reason to cling to the cage that you find yourself in currently. The limited matrix that you have created for yourself. And it will always argue against you leaving that cage, you see. Oh, wouldn't it be horrible to leave that cage? Wouldn't it be horrible to open the door to walk into the mystery? The relationships that will come with the growth and energy, the ego can't even imagine. The magic, the miracles of what is possible when you leave that cage. And because it cannot imagine it, it believes it doesn't exist. So in that sense, from a perspective of kindness and gentleness, I'm trying to remind all of you that when you have these feelings of walking away, of preferring silence over social interaction, of suddenly wanting lighter foods, for example, or wanting to drop the smoking or wanting to drop the drinking, but you then realize, oh, these are social rituals, and if I don't participate in them, well, then I can't be part of the social group. Well, trust your intuitive sense, trust your psychic senses. You are detoxing from a toxic society. Can you then invite the higher relationships in? The spiritual relationships that you might as of yet be unconscious of, that you cannot detect with senses yet? But at some point those senses will develop and it will be as real as meeting a human being. Again, reality, what is it? A bias. Reality is nothing but a bias. It's the frequency band of dimension that you currently identify with because you're the most exposed to it. And when you're about to leave it, you're like, oh God, am I leaving a part of myself behind? No, you're not. You're shifting into a higher dimension. So whatever weighs you down, whatever pulls you down, if it is substance abuse, if it is sex obsession, if it is obsession, let's say attachment to toxic relationships or jobs that don't resonate with you anymore, to let all of that go, invite something higher in, and your ego will say, well, can we survive then? This is how it keeps you in the lower astral realm. By always trying to appeal to your survival instinct, your ego fear mechanism, let's say it that way. So I cannot make any one of you step out. This is also not my job, you see. Pretty busy stepping out myself here. But I can share this with you in maybe with the loving intention of inspiring you if that's what you need right now, if that's the encouragement that you need. Encouragement to trust yourself, to be friends with your psychic intuitive sense, and do not gaslight yourself any longer, because in order to be in this society, you basically have to be gaslit. Contemplate about that, my friends. Be well. Have a wonderful day.